At my wife's funeral, no one came but me. Even our children chose parties over their billionaire mother's goodbye. Before we get into the story, leave a comment and let us know what city you're watching from. And don't forget to rate the story from 0 to 10 at the end. Enjoy the story. Rain poured over the marble courtyard as billionaire Ethan Cole stood motionless beside the coffin of his late wife, Mary. His tailored black suit clung to his shoulders, soaked through, but he didn't move. Cameras flashed from a distance, but the look in his eyes wasn't for the reporters. It was for the woman he'd lost. Her favorite white roses covered the casket, just as she'd always wanted for their anniversary. Only this time, it wasn't a celebration. A tear rolled down his cheek, but he didn't wipe it away. Behind him, whispers spread among the mourners. Some said he looked too calm. Others wondered why the funeral was so sudden. No family statements, no press briefings, nothing. As the priest's voice echoed softly through the rain, Ethan's gaze stayed fixed on the coffin. His lips barely moved, but one question lingered in his mind. Was Mary really gone, or had she chosen to disappear? What do you think really happened to Mary? Tell us where you're watching from the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Because tomorrow, we're dropping another you won't want to miss. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories to life. The rain had stopped hours ago, but the silence in the Cole mansion felt heavier than the storm itself. Staff moved quietly, their eyes down, afraid to make a sound. The world outside called Ethan the grieving billionaire. But inside his home, grief felt more like confusion. Mary's things were still everywhere. Her perfume lingered in the hall. Her favorite book lay open on the nightstand. She was gone, yet every corner whispered her presence. Ethan couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her standing by the balcony, wearing that silk nightgown she loved, smiling faintly, as if she knew something he didn't. Her death was ruled an accident, a car crash on the coast road. But something about the story didn't fit. The security footage from that night was missing. Her phone was never found, and the driver who reported the crash vanished the next morning. Ethan had spent his life controlling every detail around him, but for the first time, nothing made sense. He wasn't sure if he was grieving a death or chasing a lie. 2 days after the funeral, Ethan sat alone in his study, the firelight reflecting off the framed photo of him and Mary from their wedding day. He'd built empires, crushed competitors, and signed billion-dollar deals without hesitation. But that night, holding her old phone charged in his hand, he felt powerless. He called his head of security, Daniel, a man who had been with the family for over 10 years. Pull up the coastal highway footage from every camera within 10 miles, Ethan ordered. Daniel hesitated. Sir, there's nothing. Every camera stopped recording an hour before the crash. Ethan frowned. Every single one? Yes, sir. That same night, Ethan received a call from an unknown number. When he answered, no one spoke. Only the faint sound of waves crashing played through the speaker before the line went dead. His heart pounded. That was the same sound Mary had recorded in her last social media post. Standing by the sea, smiling at sunset. Something wasn't right. Ethan could feel it in his chest. Either someone was playing with him, or Mary wasn't as dead as everyone believed. The next morning, Ethan drove himself to the coastal road where Mary's car had supposedly crashed. The wind whipped across the cliffs, the ocean below roaring against the rocks. He stood by the rusted guardrail, staring at the spot marked with faint tire tracks. If the car had gone over the edge, there should have been debris, glass, metal, something, but the area had been cleaned too perfectly, as if someone wanted the evidence gone. He turned toward a small gas station nearby. The old attendant there recognized him instantly. "You're Mr. Cole," the man said quietly. "Your wife came through here that night." Ethan's chest tightened. "You're sure?" The man nodded. She bought gas, paid in cash. She looked calm, not scared, not rushed. That single word, calm, echoed in Ethan's mind all the way home. Back at the mansion, he searched Mary's office, digging through her drawers. Hidden inside one of her sketchbooks was a small flash drive. When he plugged it into his laptop, a single folder appeared, labeled, "If anything happens to me." Ethan froze. He clicked it open, and a video of Mary filled the screen. Mary appeared on the screen, sitting in their bedroom, wearing a gray sweater he'd bought her last Christmas. Her eyes looked tired but steady. "If you're watching this, Ethan," she began softly, "something went wrong, and it means I couldn't tell you the truth myself." Ethan's pulse quickened. "I love you," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "But I found out things that could destroy everything you've built. Your company isn't what you think it is. Someone's using it, using your name, to move money and things that should never cross borders." She looked straight into the camera. "I was supposed to be gone for a few days, but they found out I knew. They said they'd make it look like an accident. I didn't know who to trust, so I made them believe I'd disappear." Her lips trembled. "If I survive, I'll find a way to reach you. But if not, don't trust anyone close to you." The video ended. Ethan sat frozen, the fire crackling beside him. For the first time, he realized Mary's death wasn't an accident. It was a warning. Ethan didn't leave his office for hours after watching the video. The words, "Don't trust anyone close to you," echoed in his head. He looked around at the portraits, the walls, the quiet halls. Everything that once felt safe now seemed uncertain. He ordered Daniel to bring him all files linked to his company's offshore accounts. The security chief hesitated. "Sir, those records are restricted." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Whose authority?" "Your chief financial officers, sir, Mr. Halverson." Halverson, the man Ethan had treated like family. The man who had handled Mary's travel documents the week before she died. Ethan dismissed Daniel with a nod, then made a call to an old friend, a journalist named Claire, who owed him a favor. Within hours, she sent him confidential files showing money transfers from one of his companies to untraceable accounts under Halverson's control. The same accounts Mary had mentioned in her video. Ethan's heart sank. She'd been right. Someone inside his world had used his empire's cover, and she died or vanished, trying to protect him. That night, Ethan made a decision. He wouldn't rest until he found out what really happened to Mary, even if it meant burning down everything he'd built. The next morning, Ethan arrived at his corporate headquarters earlier than anyone expected. The glass tower that bore his name felt colder than usual, its hallways echoing with his footsteps. Halverson's office light was already on. Ethan walked in without knocking. Halverson looked up, startled. "Ethan, I didn't expect." "You never do," Ethan interrupted, dropping a file on his desk. "Tell me why you've been moving money through fake accounts." Halverson's face went pale. "You don't understand. It's complicated." Ethan's voice sharpened. Mary understood. That's why she's gone. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Halverson leaned back, exhaling heavily. She found out things that weren't meant to surface. She was supposed to disappear quietly, but she got help from someone inside your home. Ethan froze. "Who?" Halverson shook his head. "I don't know, but she planned it. She's alive, Ethan, or at least she was when she left." The words hit him like a storm. Alive. Ethan left the building without another word. His world had just shifted again. Mary hadn't been killed. She'd escaped. But from whom? And why hadn't she come back? Ethan's private jet touched down at a small airstrip on the outskirts of Lisbon. It was the last location connected to one of the accounts Halverson had used, and the same city Mary had secretly booked a flight to days before her accident. He moved through the quiet streets with only a photograph in his hand, a still from the gas station footage showing Mary alive, wearing a scarf and sunglasses. After hours of searching, he found the cafe from the background of the photo. The owner, an older woman, remembered her instantly. "Yes," she said in a soft accent. She came here often, always alone, always looking over her shoulder. Did she ever say her name? Ethan asked. She called herself Anna. She said she was waiting for someone she trusted with her life. Ethan's pulse quickened. The woman continued. She left one morning, told me if anyone ever came asking about her, I should give them this. She handed him a sealed envelope. Inside was a note written in Mary's handwriting. It said only, "If you found this, it means I'm close. Don't look for me. Find the truth first." Ethan stared at the words, his mind spinning. Mary was alive. But now, her warning meant something bigger. Someone else was still out there, watching. 3 weeks later, Ethan stood on the balcony of a safe house overlooking the same ocean Mary had once recorded in her final video. The investigation he'd launched in secret had torn through every layer of his company, exposing the men who'd use his business as a front for their own operations. Halverson was arrested. Several top executives vanished overnight. But even with the truth exposed, Ethan's heart felt heavier than ever. Mary's note stayed in his pocket, wherever he went. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he received a message from an unknown number, a single photo. It showed a woman sitting at a beachside cafe, facing the water. The caption read, "Some goodbyes never end." Ethan zoomed in on the image. It was her. The same scarf, the same calm posture, alive, free, watching the same ocean that once separated them. He didn't call. He didn't send a message back. Instead, he smiled faintly, knowing she'd made her choice to live beyond the shadows, beyond his world of power and control. For the first time, Ethan understood what she meant by find the truth first. It was never just about the company. It was about seeing the cost of the empire he'd built, and the woman who gave everything to protect him from it. He whispered into the evening breeze, "Goodbye, Mary." The waves carried his words away. What do you think really happened to Mary? Do you believe she'll ever return? Or did Ethan just have to let her go forever? Tell us what you think in the comments, and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this one, because tomorrow, another story drops that you won't want to miss.